Firstly, I am taking full responsibility for the setbacks of this election. I am resigning from my post as chairwoman of the Democratic Progressive Party. Our efforts weren't enough, and we let down all our supporters who fought with us. I want to express our most sincere apologies.
Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party suffered a major defeat in Saturday's local elections, losing key cities to the opposition. The defeat has worried many DPP supporters and caused President Tsai Ing-wen, as you heard, to step down as party leader. The Kuomintang, or KMT, is the former ruling party that supports better relations with Beijing. And their victory has major implications for cross-strait relations and for ties between China and the US. So, did the DPP's tough stance towards China backfire, or were voters motivated by fear? Well, to discuss this, I'm joined now from Washington, D.C. by Melissa Newcomb. She's the project manager at the National Bureau of Asian Research. And in New York, we have Victor Gao. He's the chairman of the International Committee of Beijing Private Equity Association. I thank you both for joining us. Melissa, did the DPP essentially make it all about China in their campaign, and that backfired because in the end, China won and they lost?
Hi, so good to be here again today. Thank you for your question. I think that this spinning of the question of whether or not the DPP made it all about China is a little misguided because these were local elections. It's true that China definitely ran a pressure campaign against the Tsai administration from day one. But I don't think it's fair to say that people at the local level voting for their mayors and their county level representatives were thinking about China necessarily. They were thinking about their daily lives. They were thinking about their economy in their city. They were thinking about their schools and their wages. They weren't talking about China at that point in this type of election.
Victor Gao, undoubtedly, China was watching these elections closely. It must be thrilled by the results.
Well, first of all, the people in Taiwan did vote and the verdict is out. KMT, which now has more than 60 to 70% of the local government leadership roles, and DPP just suffered a reversal of their fortune. They now held only on to about 20%. So the verdict is very clear. Indeed, it's a local election. It's for the mayors and the county administrators, etc. However, I think the people in Taiwan demonstrated again, they care about life, they care about living standard, they care about moving and improving their living standards. And this is exactly what Taiwan needs, whether at the national level eventually or this time at the local government level. I think China is happy about the result because it's in the mega trend. People in Taiwan want to have peace and stability and better living standards, and President Tsai steered the course in the wrong direction, and the people wanted to demonstrate their true intentions this time.
Okay, so Melissa, even if it was about the economy and the local mayors and who picks up the trash and bread and milk, did it also, underlying everything, did it also signal that the people have less of an appetite to be antagonistic towards Beijing, less of an appetite to want to have complete, cemented independence and separatism?
I don't know if we can say this was a vote that showed the Taiwanese people want to be closer to the mainland China. I think we can say this is a vote that showed that the Taiwanese people were not happy with the DPP. They were not happy with the status quo in their daily lives. I think that if there was pressure from the mainland on people's lives, and they may have reacted to that. But I don't think we can really say the winner is China in this election. The winner was KMT, unfortunately, for the DPP, and people were not happy with the DPP. But I don't think we can really say that they want to be with the mainland, that they're anti-independence. I think people are pro-prosperity and pro-autonomy in Taiwan.
And so, Melissa, for President Tsai Ing-wen, moving forward, as we look at the big elections that come up in a couple years' time, has she been severely weakened? Is it going to be very difficult for her to stay in power?
She has been weakened, that's for sure. And I think what's come to light are the deep fractures within the DPP. It's clear that she's been trying to hold the center between the older, more conservative, socially conservative, pro-independence, deep green DPP members and the younger, liberal, sunflower movement generation. And she hasn't really been able to hold that center. That's a tough job to ask, to be honest. But Is she still able to come back in 2020? I think so. Ma Ying-jeou stepped down as chair of the KMT when they lost elections, I think in the 2010. I could be wrong about that, I'm sorry. And he came back and won for his second presidential term. So it's still possible that she could win, but she does have an uphill battle within her party.
So Victor Gao, a KMT-led locally, I guess not nationally, but locally, a KMT-led Taiwan for now, and possibly KMT-led Taiwan in 2020 and beyond. What does that mean for Beijing? Does it mean getting closer to the inevitability that Taiwan will just be swallowed up eventually and be a part of China?
Now I think all eyes are on the presidential election in 2020 in 2 years' time. And I think if we use today's result in Taiwan as an indication of what might happen in 2 years' time, definitely the people in Taiwan won, and the people clearly made a choice. They want to have peace, stability, greater prosperity. They do not want to have an antagonistic relation with mainland China. They do not want to become victims of any war or any geopolitical warmongering between China and the United States, for example. They really want to have a greater stability going forward. For Beijing, there is no greater desire than to have peace and stability in Taiwan, and there is no greater demand than better relations between mainland China and Taiwan, and people in Taiwan enjoying better living standards. This is truly a very firm rebuttal of whatever President Tsai Ing-wen and her close followers in DPP have preached over the past 2 years. And this is very positive from mainland China's perspective. We do not want to have a war with the compatriots in Taiwan. We want to have peace and greater cooperation with our brothers and sisters in Taiwan, and we really want to seek eventual peaceful reunification between the two sides of the Taiwan Strait, which will be better for everyone in China and in Taiwan.
Right. Melissa, very finally, anything in these elections that would make Washington want to rethink its relationship with Taiwan or recalibrate some of it?
No, I think that this is a perfect example of how the relationship between the U.S. and Taiwan is stable, in the sense that the U.S. can see that Taiwan is having peaceful transfers of power between parties. And when we see that from Washington, we think that means this democracy is stable. There is no election violence. There were no riots in the streets. There was nothing violent happening after the elections. It was a stable transfer of power that everyone agreed on. The elections were fair. There may be some cases of disinformation or interference from the mainland. It's not clear yet. They are investigating that, of course. But at this point, we think that this is good for Taiwan to have a stable democracy.
Okay, Melissa Newcomb and Victor Gao, thanks for joining us once again on the Newsmakers.